Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with your host, Julian Lee. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Philip Sessions. Rob Tracz has been abducted by aliens. We don't know where he is. Doesn't matter. Welcome to the show, Philip.
Hey, I barely made it out of that alien invasion, but I'm glad to be here.
You made it, just got away. All right, we're going to play Jeopardy, just one player. Who knows how that's going to go. Let's load up the board. All right, Philip. The categories are crime and punishment, English history, sports, F words, and Brazil. All of which you are an expert in. Which one would you like to go first in?
Well, let's go with F words for 500.
F words for 500. A type of raid that fits this category. Raid. So, raid can be like a police raid, a military raid, or something you kill cockroaches with.
I'm just going to say force. I have no clue.
Force?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. It is foray.
Foray. Okay.
Foray? Is that a raid? Foray sounds like when you go picking strawberries or something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. All right. What would you like, Philip?
We'll do crime and punishment for 500.
Crime and punishment 500. Freed at 46 after suffering 11 years false imprisonment on Devil's Island, this Frenchman lived to 75.
No clue.
I'm thinking of a movie with Dustin Hoffman called Papillon. I don't know what that's got anything to do with it. It was something French. Let's take a look. It was Dreyfus.
All right. I think I'm about to go to the 100.
Yeah,
category.
they are quite difficult at 500. Let's dial it back a little bit. What would you like at one?
Yeah, crime and punishment for 100.
Crime and punishment 100. Capital punishment was widely used under Mosaic law of this ancient people. Ancient people from the Middle East.
The Egyptians? What is the Egyptians?
Close. It was the Jews. Or as my little nephew says, juice. But I think he's referring to something else.
Yeah.
What would you like, Philip?
Brazil for 100.
Brazil for 100. Less than 1% of Brazil's land is devoted to producing this necessity of life. Guess what they've got? They've got the Amazon. And what does that produce that we need?
Oh, man.
All the trees, what do the trees produce?
Oxygen.
That's what I think. Let's take a look. I was wrong. Sorry.
What is food?
Yeah,
really?
Food.
Just
I gave you a real bump. I'm renowned for giving bum stares on this show.
Hey, that's all right. Let's do sports for 100.
Sports for 100. Only team that can score points in volleyball. The one that's going.
Yeah, the serving team.
That's
what is the serving team?
Could be a bump stare. The serving team is correct. Well done, Philip.
There we go.
100 points on the board. Woo! Quick round of applause for Philip.
All right, English history for 100.
English history for 100. While Prime Minister, Winston Churchill belonged to this political party.
Well, I know. At least I know who the person is this time, but
right.
I don't. I'm gonna say, what is the Independent Party?
I'm going to give you a clue, right? In England, in politics, instead of Democrats and Republicans, they have Tories and Labour. Labour is like the Democrats, Tories like the Republicans.
I'm going to go with Tories then.
Yeah.
What is Tories?
Let's take a look. He sounds... Yeah, that's correct. The Conservative Party.
There we go.
Yeah, Tories is the slang. You got it right. Well done.
All right.
You don't want to have a... probably the other one in charge during World War II.
Well, okay, let's go with F words for 100.
F words for 100. Sitting in church, Aunt Esther might tell you to sit still and not do this F word.
What is talk?
It's F words, Philip. What did Auntie say to you? Stop.
Well, yeah, man. Okay.
Or you might get a spinner to stop doing this.
Yeah, what is not frolic? We're just gonna go with frolic. That's the F word.
Fidgeting.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. You know you have fidget spinners?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right.
I heard that didn't register for me. Yeah, I'm doing excellent right now. I'm in the lead.
You're in the lead.
We'll do Brazil for 200.
Brazil for 200. The biggest city in Brazil, known for its skyscrapers and vibrant culture, where they have a big carnival.
Yeah, we'll just go with Rio. What is Rio?
Oh man, that was another bum stare. Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It was one of the two.
I think I know what I'm talking about, but I do not know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What would you like now?
Brazil for 300.
Brazil for 300. The Brazilian city that hosts the world's largest carnival.
What is Rio?
It's gotta be.
I'm gonna double down.
This time it's Rio de Janeiro. Well done. All right, Philip, off to 500 points. Great job.
There we go. Brazil for 400. We're
Brazil
close
for
it out.
400. This river, the second longest in the world, flows through Brazil.
Oh my gosh.
Also, something where you can get it delivered next day to your door.
Yeah. What is Amazon?
Amazon is correct. Well done. Would you have got that without the Amazon delivery?
No. I'm like, I know I should know this, but all I could think about was the Nile. I know that's not right.
Long river, different area.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Brazil for 500.
Brazil for 500. In 1822, this nation declared its independence from Portugal. Now, isn't the answer just Brazil? Because Brazilians speak Portuguese. They were colonized by Portugal. We're in the Brazil category. I mean, were they called something else before Brazil?
I don't know, unless it's just a portion of Brazil, perhaps. I mean, yeah.
Maybe.
Why not? Let's go with that. Let's just go with Brazil. What is Brazil?
Let's go with Brazil. For 500? Odd. Brazil is correct. Well done. I thought they were trying to trick us there, but
yeah.
These are
All
actual Jeopardy questions.
Oh, wow. Well, let's go with F words for 300.
F words for 300. You do this to crepe Suzettes by lighting brandy, rum, or cognac. It's a type of cooking starting with F, and it's a question we had on the last episode, just by coincidence. A different question, but the same answer. How do you, when you're cooking and you see the French cook and he's making crepe, and all of a sudden he throws something in and you see all this fire, it's a type of cooking called F something.
I'm coming up with flames. What is flames? But I know
Give
that's
it a
not
bit more of a Frenchy twist.
Flambe.
Oh, it's flambe. I'm going to give it to you.
Flambe. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that just say flame? Well, you're right, according to this. I thought it was flambe. Well done.
All right, let's do sports for 500.
Sports for 500. Of all his achievements, this pediatrician is most proud of his 1924 Olympic gold medal for rowing. Famous doctor, and he was looked after kids, sick kids in the 20s. Doctor,
I don't know. Dr. Alan Johnson.
Dr. Alan Johnson, Dr. Zhivago, Dr. Doolittle. I don't know. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Benjamin Spock, Dr. Spock. So there was an actual Dr. Spock before the Star Trek one. Oh, I've gone all blue.
Apparently. Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
All right. What would you like, Philip?
We'll do English history for 500.
English history for 500. The first Englishman to sail around the world.
I don't think he was English.
Who's the guy that went around the world in 80 days? Or did he do that in a balloon or a sailboat? No, I don't think he did it in a... This is a different...
I don't know. The only sailor that's coming to mind is Christopher Columbus. I'm just going to go with that, even though I know that's completely wrong.
Yeah, he's a Spaniard. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Francis Drake. Drake the Duck.
Mm. All right, let's do English history for 300.
English history for 300. In 1915, the British created this mobile weapon that could cross trenches. Quite revolutionary. And they were all heavily used in World War II. These days, they get taken out by drones and missiles. But back then, they were a very formidable vehicular weapon.
What is a tank?
Tank's got to be. I was heavily pushing you in that direction.
Yeah.
Well done.
English history for 200.
English history for 200. In 1209, the Pope punished King John by doing this to him. Gee, the Pope was really flexing by punishing King John. I wonder how that worked out for him.
Yeah, I don't know. What is castration?
Oh, goodness
I don't
me.
know.
Philip. Okay, let's take a look. Excommunication. Yeah, so he just
Close enough.
stopped talking to him, but he kept the cojones. Continuing on.
English for 400. English history.
For 400. In the 16th century, this great Tudor king abolished the privilege of clergy issuing coins. Tudor king. Maybe I'm thinking of that guy that killed all his wives, King Henry VIII. I don't even know if he was a Tudor king.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, let's go with that. What is King Henry VIII?
I'm thinking of big hat and fluffy shirt. Puffy shirt like Seinfeld. It was Henry VIII.
Nice.
Well done.
Sports for 200.
Sports for 200. Inventor of the boxing glove. English boxer Jack Broughton is commemorated in this regal resting palace. Which palace? I don't really know.
What is Caesar's Palace?
Caesar's Palace. Well, that's got to do with boxing. So, Westminster Abbey is the correct one.
Let's do sports for 300.
Sports for 300. Finishing the Channel swim in a 1926, Gertrude Erdel was met on the beach by an immigration officer demanding this. What a male Karen.
Yeah, right.
Finish the Channel
Demanding
swim.
what is paperwork?
Papers. Show me the papers. Passport. I'll accept that. Oh, because she crossed over the border. So he's like, where's the passport? Wow. All right, let's do one more.
Okay. Crime and punishment for 400.
400. By age 33, John McClane, this type of thief, had stolen $150 million worth of goods by himself. And it's not John McClane from Die Hard. John McClane, a type of thief. You know those ones that are supposed to be really quiet and they wear black gloves?
I'm going to say con artist.
Con artist, okay. I was going to go cat burglar. Burglar. Yeah, can't give it to you. But well done, you got quite a few of those correct. And I can't see the score because I forgot to close it off. But you got lots of points. Let's have a round of applause for Philip Sessions. Well done, Philip. Playing by himself. Turn the music off. All right. Now tell us all about what you're up to. You got a podcast, you got a speaking business, and you help people become better speakers because it's really hard to do. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I primarily help people prepare to speak on a stage, whether it's a podcast like this, whether it's speaking to a boardroom in front of thousands of people, or just one-on-one, really preparing to get their message out and having it in a clear and concise way. Is we all could get better at communicating, and the ideas we have in our head, a lot of times it's hard to transfer that. And that's a lot of times what happens with our communication is we don't give a lot of that context. So I come in and help people really create that message and then create stories that make it relatable. Having the engineering background, I was very technical. So just here, cut and dry, and don't give you any details. And it's all just information. And while it can be good, most people won't want to listen for 30 minutes all you're doing is giving information. So
Yeah.
trying to find stories that relate to you as the speaker and the audience so that you can create that familiarity and then eventually get business from that because you've built up that trust with them and they understand that you are the expert because of that. So that's in a nutshell what I do to help people out.
It's like death by PowerPoint if somebody's not a
Yes.
good speaker. So they got all the facts there, but it's just painful and everybody switches off. And as you said, something about stories, we just love listening to stories and you can get the message across. Everybody's excited. Everybody remembers it. And you've got two aspects, I suppose. You've got the structure of delivering a speech in a way that people will listen to and enjoy. And then you've got your own fear of speaking. Do you find that as an issue as well?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that tends to be the first part of the coaching that we go through, and whether it's the fear or a lack of self-confidence, we usually go through those two things, one or both, and then get into the structure of like what that speech is actually going to be, because there's a lot of imposter syndrome that comes up as well. Like, how are you going to be a good speaker? Do you have that value? And so really having to instill that in my clients and help them understand that just because they're not a Steve Jobs or Tony Robbins or any of these people, but they're sharing a similar message, their message is still important. And because of who they are and their background, they're going to reach people that those people will never be able to reach. And obviously Steve Jobs can't reach anybody anymore since he's passed. But with Tony Robbins, if you like to do the same style of speaking as him and talk about the same things, you'll be able to reach people that he'll never be able to reach because of who you are. And so that's a lot of what we go through as well.
It helps to be a 7-foot tanned giant as well, doesn't it?
It does. So there's that unique characteristic there, and I use him as an example as well. Because another thing, people say, well, I don't like my voice, or my voice is weird. Well, Tony Robbins has a weird voice because he's blown his vocal cords out, and yet he still is impacting millions of people every single year with that quote unquote weird voice. So your voice is your voice. Nobody's judging you based on your voice. I mean, there are people for sure, but most people, they're more concerned about the message than the way that you sound in that message.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I guess if you provide the structure and the framework to deliver a good speech, it's going to alleviate a lot of the anxiety. I would be worried like this. I'd plan it all meticulously, have all the right stuff, and then I'd be worried at the end of the speech, I'd have to think on my feet and answer questions. And do you find that difficult?
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that as well. Really, it's really answering or thinking off the cuff. And that's where podcasts like this come in. And I really suggest that for my clients to start having conversations with people one-on-one, going on podcast and learning how to just start answering questions randomly, because yes, that non-structured portion of the speech, the Q&A at the end, is something that's hard. And it is a skill you just have to do and acquire. Nobody's good at podcasting at the beginning or being interviewed. Nobody's good at going to a job interview and being interviewed at the beginning. But if you do it over and over again, eventually you get good. So it's all about getting those reps in and just staying on point with the question, not trying to fill in a bunch of extra things or give all this extra detail. Just answer that question is really kind of the best approach that I've found to take it, besides just trying to find opportunities to get reps in.
Yeah, the podcasting is really good for that. I find it scarier to be a guest than a host, and everyone just can't believe that. Like, you know, I know what's going to happen and everything, and then I feel like I have to write out a whole presentation if I go on as a guest. Very weird. But yeah, the good thing about it is that there's so much availability. You can go on podcasts easily. And a lot of, you've go on like a new podcast that nobody listens to, you could just get the practice in. You're not exactly going on freaking Joe Rogan Experience or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you could just get the practice in and just get better and better. And you start building up an audience and people know you. And also, things happen. Like you start going on podcasts and somebody out of the blue will say, hey, look, I saw you on this. We were doing this. Do you want to be involved? All sorts of things can happen, and it's a great practice for public speaking and getting over anxiety. So tell us about how it works. If somebody says, look, Philip, I like Philip, and I want to improve my speaking, what happens next? They go to your website?
Yeah, you can go to my website, or you can find me on any social media platform and reach out. We'll have a conversation to make sure that we're a good fit, one, but two, also to understand where you're trying to go, because similar to your speech, if you don't know that end destination, it's really hard for you to create a speech. Too oftentimes when the clients that I work with and people I've talked to, they just want to go speak, but they have no clue what they want to do. Well, you can't get on stages. You can't change people's lives if you're just going to kind of wing it and speak on whatever. And so we go and have a discovery call to talk about where are you at. And then from there, we build out a game plan and then go and execute on that game plan for you. So typically it takes anywhere from about 3 to 6 months of us working together to really get you reps in and find opportunities for you to be able to go speak on podcasts and stages. But we get you a message together as well that you're going to be able to take with you and go do it on your own. And I also like to teach people how to fish, not just give them fish. So I also teach my clients how to be able to actually create their next speech. And so we go through that structure. At first, it's more, hey, here's a structure, here's some stories you can use. But then from there, it's say, so if you want to create this on your own, here's kind of an outline of how I did this and how you can do it on your own. Of course, I'd love to continue to work with people, but I understand nobody wants to continue to have to come back to somebody either. And I think too many coaches want people to be dependent on them. And I don't want my clients to be dependent on me for ever and ever, if you will.
Yes, and if you're thinking of getting your feet wet, just check out Philip's podcast it's on Spotify, isn't it?
It's on Spotify. If you go to speakingsessions.com/podcast, you'll be able to find all the links there to all the different platforms it's on. But yeah, it's on Spotify, Apple, I think Google Podcast is still a thing. It's soon going to be off maybe, and then other platforms as well.
Yeah, check that out, because that way you can really get a feel for what Philip's doing. And if you're scared of speaking to somebody, you can listen to Philip and get an idea for it and warm up a bit before you reach out. Because I know a lot of people feel like that. They don't want to ring somebody straight away, and listening to their podcast, if you have any interest at all, is a good idea. Well, that's wonderful, Philip. I like that. And learning how to speak properly, it's a real skill, and it's really beneficial in so many ways. And if you want to speak as well as Philip, reach out and have a chat to him. Thank you very much. The wonderful Philip Sessions. Wonderful. Well, thanks for playing, Philip. Even though we didn't have an opponent, you did very well. And
that's all right.
You were a great guest. I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. See you next time. Check out